October 12, 1943. Dawn over the North Atlantic. Salt spray lashes the rust-streaked deck of U-559, a Type 7C U-boat limping west after a brutal convoy battle. Inside the pressure hull, diesel fumes mix with the sour stink of unwashed men. Oberleutnant zur See Hans Heidler, 28, pale from weeks submerged, grips the periscope housing. His crew, 43 souls, whisper about the promised safe passage to America. A distant explosion rocks the boat. Water cascades through ruptured valves. The klaxon howls. Men scramble in red emergency light. Heidler's last order is simple. Surface! Scuttle! The hatch bursts open. Cold Atlantic air floods in. American destroyers close the ring. Hands rise. A spotlight pins the dripping Germans against the conning tower. They expect bayonets. Instead, a bullhorn crackles in halting German. Prisoners! Step forward. Heidler squints past the glare. The Stars and Stripes flaps above a gray steel hull. Texas, the sailors joke later, is waiting. The Atlantic had become a graveyard of steel. By mid-1943, the Battle of the Atlantic tilted decisively. Allied codebreakers at Bletchley Park cracked Enigma traffic daily. Convoy HX-256 alone lost 4 merchant, yet sank 3 U-boats in return. Donitz's wolf packs bled. Over 2,100 submarines commissioned since 1939. 648 already rested on the seabed. Crew losses topped 28,000. In Berlin, the propaganda ministry painted America as a decadent plutocracy. Its soldiers soft, its prisons medieval dungeons. Captured Luftwaffe pilots repeated the line, better death than Yankee captivity. Yet the Kriegsmarine knew better. Neutral Portugal and Spain returned exchanged crews with stories of hot meals and Red Cross parcels. Still, the rank and file clung to rumors of chain gangs and electric chairs. Across the ocean, the United States prepared. The War Department activated 155 base camps and 500 branch camps under the Provost Marshal General. Texas, flat, vast, and far from sabotage-prone coasts, emerged as ideal. The first site, Camp Hearne, broke ground in January 1942 on 640 acres of cotton land near the Brazos River. Barbed wire rose. Guard towers followed. By summer 1943, 23 Texas camps waited. Capacity 50,000. The Army contracted local farmers for labor. Prisoners would pick cotton, harvest rice, cut lumber. Geneva Convention rules applied. No forced work on war materials. Pay at 80 cents per day in canteen coupons. U-559's capture marked a pivot. British boarding party from HMS Petard seized her Enigma machine and code books hours after Heidler's crew abandoned ship. The Hall, Bigram tables, Kurzsignalen, weather short codes, accelerated ultra-intelligence. Within weeks, Allied routing avoided wolf packs entirely. Donitz withdrew submarines to refit. Meanwhile, the prisoner pipeline swelled. From North Africa, 170,000 Africa Corps veterans crossed the Atlantic in Liberty ship holds. From Normandy beaches, thousands more. The SS exchanged manifests for Red Cross oversight. Ships like USAT James Parker docked at Norfolk, Boston, New York. Trains, windowless. Pullmans labeled POW Special rumbled south and west. Texas received its first contingent on April 2, 1943. 400 men from Rommel's 2021st Panzer Division, detrained at Hearne under floodlights. Guards carried shotguns, but no fixed bayonets. A brass band played Deep in the Heart of Texas. Prisoners blinked at the reception committee of curious civilians waving from Ford pickups. The camp orchestra, formed from former Wehrmacht musicians, answered with Lily Marlene. By October, the system ran like clockwork. Each new train delivered 500 men. Medical exams, delousing, fingerprinting, issuance of denim-dyed Army surplus blue, dog tags stamped PW, a canteen coupon booklet. Then assignment to barracks, 50 men per hut, 2 pot-bellied stoves, straw mattresses. Outside, The prairie wind carried the smell of mesquite and distant cattle. Dust swirls under the tires of olive-drab trucks rolling out from Camp Hearne. June 1944. 50 German non-commissioned officers, wrists unbound, peer from the benches. Oberfeldwebel Karl Becker, captured at El Alamein, mutters to his comrade, "Propaganda! They staged this for us." The convoy halts at a dusty arena outside town. Rodeo day? Gaunt cowboys in Stetsons rope calves with effortless precision. A bronco bucks wildly, rider clinging like a burr. The Germans gape. No whips, no beatings, just cheers from the crowd, and invitations to try the chili cook-off. Becker tastes the smoky beef under strings of lanterns. "This cannot be real," he whispers later in his diary. Back at camp, word spreads. Nazi loyalists scoff, but seeds crack the soil. Locals wave from porches as work details march to cotton fields. Private Heinrich Schultz, 19, from Bavaria, shoulders a burlap sack. Propaganda drilled it. America starves its captives. Yet breakfast was Spam, eggs, white bread, portions dwarfing Wehrmacht rations. At the farm, a farmer's wife hands out lemonade. "Y'all drink up." Schultz fills his sack faster than required, earning extra coupons. Evenings, he sketches the endless flatlands in letters home, censored but glowing. The people here are kind. Machines do the heavy work. One night, a dance at the USO Hall. Texas girls giggle at accents. Schultz dances a two-step. For the first time since Tunisia, laughter feels possible. Tactically, the camps inverted the war. Camp Mexia, 120 miles south of Dallas, housed 4,800 prisoners by late 1944. Its commander, Colonel Robert L. Moore, rotated guards every 4 hours to prevent fraternization, yet efficiency demanded cooperation. Work details formed at 0600. Germans marched in columns of fours to rice paddies near Beaumont. A single sergeant oversaw 200 men. No chains. The prisoner's own Feldwebel kept discipline. Output tripled local civilian rates. One farmer reported, "They hoe like they're still in the Africa Corps." Technology bridged suspicion. At Camp Hearne, the Army installed a loudspeaker system for announcements. Prisoners countered with ingenuity. Former U-boat electrician Matros Fritz Lang rigged a crystal radio from razor blades, copper wire, and a Coca-Cola bottle. Hidden in a latrine beam, it pulled an armed forces radio. Glenn Miller's "In the Mood" drifted through barracks at night. Lang traded the secret for American cigarettes. Soon, dozens of sets hummed. News of Stalingrad's fall reached them before Berlin's censored bulletins. Leadership fractured under reality. At Camp Swift, Hauptmann Werner Pluskat, Atlantic Wall veteran, arrived defiant. He organized Nazi cells, saluting portraits of the Führer smuggled in Red Cross parcels. Guards ignored the theatrics. Pluskat's authority eroded when privates returned from town passes with tales of movie theaters showing Casablanca. A secret ballot among officers revealed 60% favored cooperation. Pluskat isolated himself, writing manifestos no one read. By 1945, anti-Nazi committees ran camp newspapers. The barbed-wire telegraph printed baseball scores alongside denunciations of Gestapo methods. Morally, the ground shifted. Camp Huntsville's Catholic chaplain, Father Paul Schmidt, a captured Wehrmacht priest, held Mass in a repurposed mess hall. American altar boys assisted. Protestant services followed. One Sunday, a Jewish GI from New York attended out of curiosity. No incident. Schmidt later confessed to his diary. "I feared hatred. Found only questions." Prisoners debated war guilt in evening classes taught by captured professors. A former SS man wept during a screening of Allied atrocity footage. "We were told lies," he said. The room fell silent. Outside, cicadas droned against the wire. April 14th, 1945, 2:17 a.m. A single Pullman sleeper, blinds drawn, rattles south on the Missouri Pacific Line. Inside, 312 German prisoners from Camp Hearne ride in stunned silence. Destination: the port of Houston, then home. The war in Europe ends in 3 weeks. But these men already know. 2 days earlier, A guard sergeant entered Barracks 14 with a clipboard. Pack light. Repatriation list. Names read alphabetically. Oberleutnant Hans Heidler, U-559's former commander, stood rigid as his was called. He had spent 18 months in Texas, cotton fields, baseball games, a Christmas dance where a whack taught him the jitterbug. Now the wire gates would open the other way. At dawn on the 14th, the train halts at Hearne siding. Floodlights sweep the platform. Families of local guards wave goodbye to men they once watched. A prisoner orchestra, violins, accordion, clarinet, strikes up Die Wacht am Rhein. The melody falters. Someone switches to Deep in the Heart of Texas. Laughter breaks the tension. Heidler steps down last. In his pocket, a folded letter from the farmer whose land he worked. Come back when it's over, Hans. The cotton needs honest hands. The march to the station is 2 miles. No rifles aimed, only a jeep ahead and behind. Civilians line the route. A little girl runs forward, presses a paper flag into Heidler's hand. Stars and stripes, crayon stars. He tucks it inside H8:42 a.m. The column reaches the depot. Heat shimmers off the rails. A Red Cross nurse distributes paper cups of iced tea. Heidler drinks, eyes scanning the crowd. He spots Carl Becker, the skeptical Oberfeldwebel from the rodeo, now holding a toddler aloft so the child can wave. Becker's face is sunburned, eyes wet. The train whistle shrieks. Prisoners board in orderly files, the same military precision they once used to launch torpedoes. Inside the coach, seats face forward. No shackles. A GI passes out Stars and Stripes editions proclaiming Roosevelt's death. Headlines scream, FDR dies. Truman takes oath. The car falls quiet. A corporal from Munich crosses himself. At 9:05, the locomotive lurches. Steel wheels grind. Through the window, Texas recedes. Cotton bowls white against red earth. Oil derricks nodding like mechanical sentries. Heidler unfolds the farmer's letter again. The ink has smudged from sweat, but the words remain. You showed me a German can be a man first. Noon approaches. The train crosses the Trinity River. Reflections fracture in the water. In the aisle, Fritz Lang, the radio tinkerer, pulls a small bundle from his shirt. A crystal set, wrapped in a Texas Rangers pennant. Souvenir, he says, offering it to the guard. The GI refuses with a grin. Keep it, Fritz. You earned it. 30 p.m. The coast. Salt air seeps through cracked windows. Galveston wharves appear. Liberty ships ride at anchor. Gray hulls striped with dazzle camouflage. A band on the pier plays Don't Fence Me In. Prisoners detrained to the thud of bass drums. Heidler's knees buckle on solid ground. A sailor steadies him. Easy, skipper. You're homeward bound. The gangplank rises at 4:17. Last glances. A prisoner salutes the shore. Another presses a hand to the glass. Engines thrum. Lines cast off. The Texas coastline shrinks to a green thread, then vanishes. May 8, 1945. VE Day. Church bells ring across Texas. At Camp Hearne, the wire comes down in sections. Bulldozers level guard towers. The last 87 die-hard Nazis ship out under guard, bound for re-education in England. The rest, over 48,000 from Texas camps, sail on 15 troop ships. Statistics tell the scale. The United States held 425,871 Axis prisoners total. Texas alone processed 78,000 Germans, 2,000 Italians, 400 Japanese. Mortality rate, 0.14%, lower than some Army training camps. Escapes, 2,053 attempted nationwide, 27 from Texas. All recaptured within days, most within hours. One man walked 12 miles to Bryan, asked directions to the bus station, and surrendered when offered a ride. Farms felt the void. Cotton yields dropped 22% in 1946. Rice harvests lagged. The WWII War Manpower Commission begged veterans to fill gaps. Few answered. Local newspapers ran editorials. We miss our Germans. At Hearne, the high school band played farewell concerts. Prisoners left murals on mess hall walls, alpine scenes, U-boats under northern lights, a lone cowboy on the prairie. The Army whitewashed them in 1947. Repatriation ships docked at Bremerhaven, Antwerp, Naples. Disembarking men carried denim jackets, Sears Roebuck catalogs, and photographs with American hosts. British authorities strip-searched for contraband. They found fountain pens, baseball gloves, harmonicas. One officer surrendered a Stetson hat. "From a friend in Lubbock," he explained. In Germany, the rubble welcomed them. Hamburg's port cranes lay twisted. Families searched name lists posted on bakery walls. Heidler found his wife alive in a British Zone DP camp, their home bombed flat. Becker located his parents in the Soviet sector. They had bartered wedding rings for potatoes. The crystal radios, the jitterbug steps, the taste of chili, all felt like dreams against the hunger. Yet Texas lingered. By 1947, the first letters arrived at former camps. "I am rebuilding with your coupons," wrote a prisoner-turned-Mason. Another enclosed a photo, a Bavarian barn painted with longhorns. The State Department forwarded mail through Geneva. In 1951, the Federal Republic lifted travel bans. Planes replaced ships. Camp Hearne became a memory, then a museum. Former guards donated uniforms. Ex-prisoners sent postcards. In 1976, Hans Heidler returned, gray, prosperous, owner of a Munich auto dealership. He stood where Barracks 14 once stood, now a pasture. A historical marker read, "Here, enemies became guests." He laid a wreath of bluebonnets. The wind carried dust across the same red earth he once hoed. November 4th, 1976. Twilight over the Brazos bottomlands. Hans Heidler, now 61, stands alone where the wire once stood. The sun dips low, painting the sky in bruised oranges and purples. Bluebonnets sway in the breeze, their petals brushing against weathered boots. He kneels, fingers tracing the soil that once absorbed his sweat under guard towers. No barracks remain, only ghosts of footsteps in the dust. Texas did not win the war with bullets here, but with lemonade on hot afternoons, with rodeo cheers, and Glenn Miller on hidden radios. Propaganda crumbled not in Berlin's bunkers, but in cotton rows where enemies shared water cans. Over 78,000 Germans walked these fields. Thousands returned as civilians, building bridges with American tools and Texan memories. In the end, captivity revealed a quieter truth. Humanity persists in the unlikeliest soil. Wartime hatred yields to shared labor, to a child's crayon flag tucked in a tunic. The prairie endures, vast and indifferent, whispering that reconciliation begins where fear meets kindness. Heidler rises. The wind carries away the wreath's petals, one by one, into the gathering dark.